So I've been born and brought up in Delhi, and I did my schooling also from there. And my father also works in government service. So I have grown up watching him work for the public, and it's been really taxing also sometimes. And if you talk about my aspirations, I think when I was in 7th standard, that's when I got to know that, my mom wants me to be a civil servant. At that time, I hardly even knew that what this thing actually meant. But since it was my parents' dream, like every other middle class families, so I thought, okay, maybe this is something I want to do. But then I went on for my engineering, and because I secured a decent rank over there. And during the course of my engineering, I realized that UPSC, I wanted to give UPSC at that time, but then I realized that it's a very dicey game and you never know how it will pan out. So I wanted to give UPSC then and there only, but then I thought that it would be a more prudent plan to have a plan B, because this is a very unpredictable and taxing exam. So I decided that I'll go for a professional experience first and then I'll give the exam. So that's when I landed up working in Cisco for almost 2 years, and I gave my attempt also. But in this attempt, I eventually left my job in entirety, and then I gave this attempt.
Okay. So your father is an ASI of
Yes.
Delhi Police, right? So did you ever want to get into the police services, or did that ever cross your mind?
So I'll tell you, in my family there are many people from uniformed services. So I've always been very charmed by them. So I did want to go to police service just like my father. But then when I grew up and I actually got to know the nitty-gritties of the service, I realized that if IPS can help me achieve something, which obviously was giving back to the society, which was my main motive, but IAS has much wider spectrum of things you can do. So if you're able to achieve that, I think it's well and good. But I think if I had not gotten into IAS, I would have been equally happy with IPS also.
Okay, so when did the civil services idea come to you? Like at what age do you remember like one incident that kind of made you think that, okay, I need to do this?
So civil services में जाने का जो dream है, that stemmed from my parents only, especially my mother. She always wanted to see me as a bureaucrat, just like any other middle class family. But I think I was in 7th standard when I got to know that my mom wants me to be an IAS. I hardly even knew that what this word meant by then. But over the period of time, my parents have really helped me shape and guide my career. So I was in college when I actually realized what the service means, what it can give you, and the spectrum of activities you can do in this service, so that you're actually able to do both the things. आप सेल्फ डेवलपमेंट, सेल्फ ग्रोथ भी कर सकते हैं, एंड आप सोसाइटी को भी दे सकते हैं. So that way I think it's a very, very satisfactory service, and that's when I made my mind, probably by the end of first year, that yes, I'll definitely give it a wholehearted attempt.
Okay, so this journey has been full of sacrifices for you. You gave up a very lucrative corporate job for this aspiration. So were you surprised by your own decision, and how did your family react to it?
So I think by the end of 4th year, I had made up my mind that I'll just work for 1 year. I'll get professional experience, and then I'll give the exam. By that time, I'll be financially also independent, and I'll be able to take care of my expenses during preparation. So that was the whole idea. But then when you start working actually, especially if the work is good and work environment is decent, you tend to get very comfortable with it. तब आपका मन नहीं करता है, you have that inertia कि इतना comfortable place छोड़ के why should I give myself into this never-ending cycle of giving exams. And meanwhile I gave my CAT exam also, and I got into IIM Bangalore also. But I think I decided to give it up all by completion of 2 years of my service in corporate sector. And it was a very tough decision, I'll be very honest. But I think my family really supported me through it. They gave me the conviction that, okay, it's worth taking the risk. It's something you have dreamt of, and it's our dream too. So it's worthwhile. And I think I gathered the courage to do that. And thankfully it turned out right.
So I'll begin with a basic question. How long did your preparation journey last?
So ये मेरा third attempt था, and it took me 3 years. And in third attempt I had left all my job and it was fully dedicated into the preparation. And मेरे first 2 attempts में I could not clear my prelims, and this was the attempt where I actually got through all the stages. So it was a pretty long journey, and I would suggest that aspirants should have a level of perseverance and patience when they give this exam, क्योंकि journey sometimes gets longer. हम भी ये सोचते हैं कि okay, इतना ज़्यादा टाइम तो नहीं लगेगा. We are like, if we give it our wholehearted attempt, तो हो जाना चाहिए. But sometimes, unfortunately, things don't pan out the way you want to be. So I think that's when it is important that you don't give up and you have the conviction that you'll do it. If not in this time, then maybe next time, but it will happen.
Okay.
So don't let go of that.
Okay, yeah. So now you went back to Delhi and you had the time. So what was your mindset? Like, did anything change with the fact that you left your job? Like, did your outlook change?
So there was a conundrum in my mind that I am leaving a good MBA college, I'm leaving a good job, and maybe, you know, this exam will not be fruitful. Maybe what will happen, then what will I do? How will I justify the gap I have in my career? Will I be able to bounce back to the corporate life, settled life I have here? So it was very, very hard and challenging. But then again, I think I took a leap of faith that, okay, maybe things will happen. I'll make them happen. And that's how I went about it.
Okay, so the most important question, can you tell us about your UPSC CSE journey? Like, how did you begin? How many hours were you studying during the day?
Okay, so as I already told you, this was my third attempt. So it took 3 years of my life. And so I think I'll start with talking about my mistakes, what I did in my first 2 attempts. Because of which I could not even clear my prelims. So I'll talk about what went wrong with me in my first 2 attempts that really took a setback for me. So firstly, I didn't have a proper schedule. My time management skills were severely lacking, and since I used to work sometimes, so I had a very poor coordination in my UPSC preparation and work schedule. So first thing is time management. Second thing is, I think I did not practice enough. I used to believe that if I'll read more and more about a certain topic, probably I'll gain a lot of knowledge. I'll be able to eliminate options better, write better. But then that's where I was wrong. I think in this exam, what matters the most is practice. The more you practice, the more you learn from it. And obviously, because of that, I did not do test series also properly. So that really went wrong for me. So in my third attempt, मैंने सारी चीज़ें गलतियाँ rectify करने की कोशिश की. I made a very strict schedule that I'll not count the hours I'm studying, but I divided my entire course into particular sections. That this is the study material I'll be referring for this, and I'll not go beyond that. चाहे मार्केट में कितना भी आ जाए, I'll not go beyond that. And then I started dividing my day. For example, I try to wake up early. Usually I'm not. After engineering, we become like a night owl. and we don't have early morning routine. But then I fixed my routine. I had left my job, so I ensured that I'll wake up early in the morning, from 8 to 9 at max, and then I'll start my studies by 10. And within slots of 2-3 hours, I try to finish various sections of my syllabus, which included giving 2 hours dedicatedly for current affairs. And that's how my schedule was actually for entire year.
Okay.
It was as monotonous as it could be, but I think it really helped me.
You also mentioned that you were not taking mock tests or test series. Did that change in your third attempt?
Yes, definitely. So I think I was a little slow to learn from my mistakes. It took me third attempt. But then in my third attempt, with my time management, I ensured that I'll join a proper test series. So I joined one test series, and I would regularly go and give mock tests in proper environment, stimulated environment. I'll go to the center and I'll write the test, and I'll also ensure that I'm attending the discussions of the test series. Because I think where we lack when it comes to mock test is that we try to give a lot of mock tests, but we don't actually analyze how we have performed in it. So giving mock test is important, but it's equally important that we analyze our papers and what mistakes we have done over there. So I invested time in that. I remember when every Sunday I used to go for test series. So when I would give my test series, entire day would probably just go into that test only, because I'll try to revise, I'll try to rectify my mistakes. पेपर को रिवाइज करते वक्त आई यूज्ड टू सी कि मेरे जो क्वेश्चंस गलत हो रहे हैं वो कहाँ हो रहे हैं, कंसेप्चुअली गलत हो रहे हैं या फिर फैक्चुअली गलत हो रहे हैं या रिविजन्स की कमी है. तो विद इन दीज कैटेगरीज आई वुड ट्राई टू वर्क टूवर्ड्स इट कि नेक्स्ट टाइम मैं पढ़ूँ तो मेरे को किस चीज़ में, किस एरियाज़ में फोकस करना है. सो आई थिंक इट वाज लाइक दैट एंड इट रियली हेल्प्ड मी.
When it comes to preparation, is there anything specific that you have learned that you would like to tell, our learners?
Anything specific is the fact that I think we need to realize कि हमारा syllabus ही हमारा Bible है. We have to treat it like a Bible. And अभी market में lately there's a plethora and proliferation of material. So सबसे important चीज़ है कि when we start our preparation, it's important that we plan it well. And how do we plan it? We limit our resources then and there, at least for the static part. For example, in GS1, आपके पास Indian history है, world history है. It's important if you chart out books then and there and stick to that. And current के लिए I would say कि आप newspaper regularly पढ़िए. Because newspaper का कोई substitute नहीं होता है. No matter how many parchas and magazines we refer to, nothing can actually replace reading newspaper regularly. और इसके benefits बहुत सारे होते हैं. First is that you develop a habit of reading. Second is you consistently are in touch with news. And third thing is when you read editorials, they give you different perspectives. So when you actually read them properly, you're able to develop a line of thought. And by actually accumulating all those different opinions, maybe आप अपना एक अलग opinion frame कर सकते हैं. And आपको पता चलता है what is the language to write. So that would help. And वो आपको कोई पर्चा नहीं सिखा पाएगा.
Correct.
So I think it's very important that we keep in mind that newspaper should not be missed. Practice should not be left. You have to keep practicing papers and you have to keep analyzing them. And you have to very specifically stick to your schedule. And within that schedule, you have to stick to the material also. You need to have faith कि अगर मैंने सतीश चंद्र उठाया है हिस्ट्री के लिए, this should be enough. I need not worry about what my friend is studying. या फिर ये तो नई मार्केट में बुक आई हैं, या फिर इस साल इस बुक से क्वेश्चंस आए थे तो I should go for this book. I think it's a very wrong notion to go about. आप सतीश चंद्र या जो भी बुक उठाते हैं आप उसी को मल्टीपल टाइम रिविजन्स कीजिए and it will help you a lot. And you can see how much it boosts your preparation when you do that.
Right. And how did you select these books?
So I referred to, just like other people, I went to the blogs of previous year toppers, Gaurav Agarwal sir, Tina Dhabi ma'am, and last year also. So I used to see these blogs and book list of the toppers what toppers referred to. And from when I joined test series, from coaching also I took like whatever they are giving. For example, in Vajiram, they were giving a specified set of book list. So I collated them all, and then I saw that okay, for this topic this seems decent, so I'll go with this. So in my first 2 attempts, I think I read a lot of books. So I read a lot at that time. So I think that also helped me develop a perspective कि क्या चीज़ relevant है क्या नहीं. मैंने geography की, I remember I read so many books. I even read Savinder Singh, which was not even required for GS paper. So after learning from my mistakes, I realized that it's better if we stick to the standard books. और वो standard book list आपको किसी भी coaching में या किसी topper के blog पे मिल जाएगी. But once you see that, you chart out a book list for yourself and then you stick to that. And यहाँ पे एक चीज़ ये भी है कि आपके पास पेपर में सारे questions उन बुक से नहीं आएंगे. So whatever is missing in your study plan, when you go for test series, तो उसमें आपके कई सारे questions और कई सारे areas ऐसे होते हैं जो वो लोग cover करते हैं, जो हम नहीं कर पाते हैं. तो इट्स बेटर कि आप टेस्ट सीरीज़ को सप्लीमेंट करके भी यूटिलाइज़ कीजिए, कि उसमें जो भी गैप्स विच आर देयर इन योर प्रिपरेशन यू कैन फिल थ्रू टेस्ट सीरीज इफ़ यू डू देम डिलीजेंटली. एंड इन दोनों को मिला के आई थिंक काफ़ी होलसम प्रिपरेशन हो जाती है. सो अबाउट आंसर राइटिंग, आई थिंक देयर आर फ्यू थिंग्स वी नीड टू टेक केयर ऑफ. फर्स्ट थिंग इज़ व्हेन वी स्टार्ट आवर प्रिपरेशन, it's better that we objectively analyze where do we stand. Because some people are very good with the presentation part. Some people know how to articulate well, and other people have like lot of things missing. They cannot frame answers properly. So it's better that we realize where do we stand in our answer writing position, and then we start working on it then and there. So when you start writing answers, I think it's important that firstly, you try to address the demand of the question. Whatever is asked in the question, it's important that we stick to that. For example, like in our paper, in GS 3, I think it was asked that what is the, something like that, ki what is the interlinkage between poverty and malnutrition. So what many people did was, they divided the question into 2 segments. They wrote about poverty, they wrote about malnutrition, but वो interlinkage नहीं आया उसमें. The question was asking how are they like interlinked and co-dependent, how do they affect each other. So वो when you don't address the demand of the question, it doesn't matter कि आप एक पेज लिख रहे हो, 2 पेज लिख रहे हो, it will not fetch you marks. So first point is you address the demand of the question, you invest time in it and you work on it. Second thing is examiner भी normal इंसान होता है हमारी तरह. They also want to give marks to the question which is more legible, which is more presentable. So जितना हम examiner का काम easy करें आंसर चेकिंग में, उतना better होगा. तो इसीलिए I think it's important कि हम अपने पूरे आंसर को clearly delineate करके लिखें. For example, introduction, body format, IBC format जो करते हैं, that is very important I think, and it really helped me. In fact, most of the questions in my mains answer, I try to stick to this format. So third thing, in IBC format itself, अगर आप introduction में if you start your answer with some recent news, for example if it's about poverty itself, अगर आप कोई recent report mention कर सकते हो या कोई recent news incident mention करके that so and so was happening or this report said this thing. So if you give these factual details about something, I think it gives you brownie points. That is also very important because every mark matter in this examination. And then in body you can write and analyze in detail all about whatever the question is asking. And अगर आप उसको points में लिखेंगे तो I think it's even better because it's easier to mark and give answers. in conclusion, I think you should always be very optimistic. Even though the question asks कि आप critically analyze कीजिए या फिर if the question is asking about the negative impacts also, it's better आप conclusion में एक optimistic note पर छोड़ें. For example, what can be done? जैसे economic reforms में पूछें तो you can write about कि how नीति आयोग 2.0 can be made, or so and so author gave this suggestion, or so and so report gave this thing. इसमें I think in GS3 paper, India at 75 report had come. So that had a lot of suggestions for reforms in every sector. I think I utilized it to the fullest, and I tried to write most of the suggestions in my answers. And that really helped my answers stand out. And I think it got me marks also. So it's important कि अगर हम ये चीज़ों का ध्यान रखें तो it would be better. And while doing the same, it's important कि हम अपना speed भी maintain करके रखें, because paper इतना lengthy होता है that you have to finish 20 questions within a span of 3 hours, and then you have to think and also write. So it's important that we try to divide our time. Like for example, what I did was I attempted 15 marker questions first. मैंने पेपर उल्टा स्टार्ट किया था. I made it a point कि 10 to 11 minutes में I'll write one 15 marker question. At least I tried to stick to that, and then I'll finish off my 10 marker questions. So that was the strategy I adopted, and I made sure that I'm finishing the entire paper. Even if last questions में आपके ज़्यादा time नहीं होता है, तो even if you have to write just plain bullet points, you do that. Don't leave any question and try to complete it as much as possible.
Okay. Yeah. Is it difficult to not let your own opinions come through? As in, sometimes it might not be neutral. Yeah. So did you ever face that difficulty?
So I think what you're asking is about the contentious topics. And obviously the paper is like that all the contemporary things which are going on, you tend to develop an opinion of your own. So subjective bias I think आ जाता है, but it's important कि हम ये चीज़ ध्यान रखें कि we are working for the people ultimately, and we have to realize that we are becoming a part of the government. So we have to help people through the means of government. So I think it's important कि हम अपना subjective bias उससे हटा के objectively ये सोचें कि whatever we are writing or whatever we are thinking ultimately needs to be pro people. So I think with this thought it really helps to remove your subjective biases.
Right. Okay. I think that will help.
Yeah.
So can you tell us about the day when the results were out? Like how did you react when you saw your name and the rank that you secured?
So our result date was very very surprising, because we were not expecting कि उस दिन result आएगा. It was a usual monotonous day for me, especially with COVID and lockdown. I think मैंने तो अपनी preparation start कर दी थी for 4th attempt. I was done with my test series also, prelims test series, and I was in that mode कि okay जो होगा देखा जाए. Then all of a sudden on 4th morning, my telegram gets flooded with messages that oh, result is going to be declared soon. Then I thought it's again a farce thing, because every few days same thing was happening. So I went to the kitchen and I was making my Maggi. I had just put Maggi in that hot water. Then all of a sudden my phone started ringing, and my friend called and he's like, result is out, please check the PDF. And when I opened the PDF, I searched for my name and it was there at rank 6, and I was like, oh god, that's way too up, that's way too high. And the first person I called was my dad. Both of my parents were not at home. My mom had gone to my nanny's house for Rakhi, and my dad was in office. So then and there I called my dad and I said कि daddy result आ गया है and I think it's rank 6. He's like, this is very good, please check it again. So and I did, and I think for half an hour I could not believe that, you know, two things, that I got through, and second thing, that I got such a decent rank. So it was really unbelievable. But then the plethora of calls and congratulatory message make you sink in that okay.
Yeah.
But I think the only feeling which was very predominant in this entire process is thank God. Thank God it's over, it's done. And I think it's true for most of us. It feels so relieving that you're out of this taxing journey of giving exams over and over again. Yeah.
But you also mentioned that you were preparing for your 4th attempt, like you'd already started. So I can imagine how surprising it must be for you.
How relaxing it must
Yeah.
be. But okay, now I can say bye-bye to my books and test series.
Is the journey of women aspirants different than their male counterparts when it comes to civil services?
I think the entire journey psychologically is gender neutral because it's very taxing. But for girls in particular, we all know that how our society is like. There's a particular age to do everything. There's a particular age that, okay, by this age you're supposed to get married, you're supposed to be settled. So I think the pressure of peer pressure and social pressure to get married, to get settled and to be questioned is more on girls than it's on boys. So again, having the liberty to give this exam over and over again is very limited for girls as compared to guys. And I'm not saying that it's any easier on guys. I'm sure they have their own set of challenges. But yes, it's hard because you have to fight people, including your own relatives, that okay, I want to invest time in this. I don't want to get married. I don't want to do anything else. I want to invest my time in this. So it is different that way.
So in 2019, around 58 women IAS officers
made it through.
Yeah, made it through. And this year, I think your batch has 56. How is it inside the campus? Like, can you just tell us a little bit about that?
I think even I saw that video which was made last year, and I think it's very amazing that female officers are coming to the fore in the services. And in our batch, I would personally say that each one of the female officers are so amazing. They're not just academically bright, I think they're very well groomed, very talented. Some have talent of singing, dancing, painting. You name anything and you'll find a talented person over there. So it's very empowering that women are actually making it to the services. Because I think when women are able to hold the positions, especially when it comes to public service, maybe there is some part of it they're able to do better, they're able to empathize more, and in general also I think it's better for the society and it gives a very positive direction to our progressive.
So cracking UPSC CSE in itself is a huge, it's an achievement. But I think everyone knows that that's just the beginning. PI is even harder. So how was your experience? What were your expectations of PI?
So personality test, this was my 3rd attempt, जिसमें मैं mains clear करके interview तक I went. And interview में, I think it's important that we take care of few things like first of all, no matter what happens, don't lose your calm.
Okay.
It's okay if you don't know the answers to 2, 3, 4 questions, but just don't lose your calm, don't panic, because these are the things they're actually noticing. In our syllabus, personality test maybe, there's a particular set of traits which is written, that how the depth of knowledge, how you're able to articulate things. So आप उसको read कीजिए and try to inculcate everything in your behavior. Obviously आप personality एकदम से तो change नहीं कर सकते overnight, but maybe a few things like first of all extensive reading about your background. आपने सर्विस किया है, आपने जो भी जॉब प्रोफाइल है, आपका होम स्टेट, आपका कार्डर प्रेफरेंस, उसमें फर्स्ट 2-3 प्रेफरेंसेस, आपका एजुकेशनल बैकग्राउंड. इट्स इम्पॉर्टेंट दैट वी thoroughly know about it, because I think 30 to 40% of your interview depends on that. For me personally, I had Sujata Mehta ma'am's board. I was the last one to go in the day. It was an afternoon session, and my interview was very much focused on the work profile I had, because I worked for 2 years, and then follow-up questions come from that, like from your background of software engineering to your work profile, then how did you work, what kind of strategies did you adopt, and then it navigated to service exports and then technology and everything related to that.
Okay.
So almost 60% of my interview went on these lines. And if you prepare thoroughly, I think these are predictable lines. So these are something you should not falter on.
Okay.
And having said that, I think it's okay to say no. आपको हर क्वेश्चन का आंसर नहीं आएगा, because sometimes they hit the questions out of blue. तो आप उसमें नो कह सकते हैं. यू शुड बी रेडी दैट ओके आई डोंट नो. इट गिव्स द इंटरव्यूअर एन अपॉर्चुनिटी टू नेविगेट टू नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन. आपको ये सोचने की ज़रूरत नहीं है कि आपके 2 क्वेश्चन का आंसर नहीं हुआ तो अब तो मेरे नंबर गए. एंड अनदर थिंग इज़ यू शुड बी वेल वर्स्ड विद योर ऑप्शनल ऑल्सो. हम मेंस के रिजल्ट के बाद ऑप्शनल रिवाइज करना भूल जाते हैं. तो दैट इज़ समथिंग वी शुड नॉट लीव, because optional से भी they ask a lot of questions. For me, even the theoretical part was asked in the interview. So thankfully I revised, so I was able to tackle that. And in my interview, I think there were 2 questions for whom I said that, sorry sir, I cannot recall it right now, I'll try to read about it later. So I think that also gave a very honest impression.
Okay.
What they're actually looking for is that even if you don't know something, you should be honest about it, and you should not try to play through the minds of the interviewer. The more clear and crisp you are, the more honest you are, I think it really helps.
Okay. Also, one question that I missed asking earlier was, what were your optional subjects?
My optional was political science and international relations.
Okay.
And
why did you choose
Yeah.
those subjects?
So it was purely based on interest for me, and I would suggest while choosing an optional, 80% factor should be the level of interest you hold in that subject, and rest 20% should be decided on the fact that what kind of test series are available, what kind of guidance is available, because like for some subjects like literature subjects, not adequate coaching and series
Correct.
are available, material is not there. So it would be prudent if you go for an optional which has good guidance, as well as it has very good level of interest also from it. And here there's one myth I would like to burst, that some optionals are more scoring than others. It's not the case. आप academy में आएंगे, आप देखेंगे in the selected list, आपके पास हर optional के selected candidates होंगे. सो दोज हु से कि ये ही ले लो और इसमें नंबर आ जाएंगे या ये डाउन प्ले हो रहा है, ऐसा कुछ नहीं होता. इट्स इम्पॉर्टेंट दैट वी सी दैट दीज थिंग्स आर इमटेरियल. इट्स जस्ट क्रिएटेड, इट्स जस्ट मिथ. Okay, so I don't want to give any unnecessary gyan, but I would like to say that dreams do come true. Don't give up on them, and especially for an exam like UPSC, it might take a little longer, but be thorough with your strategy, with your practice, with your revisions, and have that conviction in you that whatever may come, आप उसे obstacle की तरह लीजिए, and you will get through it and you'll make it through. I wish all the very best to all the aspirants. I wish you guys come here very soon and all your dreams.